Good afternoon, YouTube. I wanted to do a decent little video here, a testament to Royal Purple. I know, a lot of people are gonna start getting flustered already, but I've had good luck with Royal Purple, and this is my reason why. Now, I know everybody these days is saying that synthetic oils can go 15,000 miles, what the frick ever. I don't do that. I normally do, as soon as my oil light comes on, I change it, type of thing. You know, give or take. It's not always right on the dot, but this time was severely not on the dot. I ended up going 15 or 16,000 miles on this oil change. I've had it in my mind to do the oil cooler, which, from what I heard, you need to drain the oil. Well, I wanted to wait till I needed an oil change. Well, I could tell you it's not immediately in the budget for an oil cooler. I was going to get the Banks bigger oil cooler for the 01 to 06, 01 to 2011, or whatever it is. I think it's up to the LML. So Duramax up to the LML. Banks makes a bigger oil cooler. It's got a couple more cooling plates in it. It's supposed to cool, I think, like 50% better or something like that, give or take. It's on their website, their specs for it, but up to 50% better on these older trucks. I think it's, 06 and up that has one more plate in the stack than this in the cooler. So, the new 06 and up have a little bit less. It's like 30% better cooling or something, but these older, 01 to I don't know, maybe even 05, it has a lot better cooling capacity than the factory unit. So, and for those that don't know, I need to replace the oil cooler because they're starting to weep coolant ever so slightly. It's been doing that for the last couple of years. I've just been ignoring it and topping off the coolant. I only have to top off the coolant once every other month. So, like I said, it's minor, but it's enough to make me go, okay, I need to, at some point, is this going to really let go, and I really need it, type of thing. So, keeping my eye on it, whatever. But, oil light was on when I parked it for winter time, and I had it in my mind, I'm going to do the oil cooler at some point. I'll worry about it in the spring. Well, then spring came, and I'm like, I'm tired of the truck sitting. I want to drive it. I'm just tired of it sitting. I don't care what problem it has. I'm going to drive it till she pops. It's not the engine, drivetrain. I don't know if it's the rear end, U-joint. I don't know. Something's howling, and it's only when it changes with load and no load. So it's always there, though. Always. Load or no load. So, but it changes with load. It doesn't change going left to right, drifting it, whatever. It's just there no matter what, just different under load and under no load. So that would probably rule out wheel bearings in the rear. So it's got to be the rear diff, or it's got to be a front U-joint or something. I swapped the transfer case. It's the exact same noise, the exact same volume. In fact, it's gotten worse since I towed my trailer, my 18-foot enclosed trailer with furniture and stuff. I mean, like we did over 100 miles that day, toting around, and she was howling pretty damn good. And it's usually with the colder or the hotter the equipment gets, the louder it is. So the rear end doesn't work right anyway for locking. It is pretty well dead. It's more of a one-wheel wonder. Every once in a very great blue moon, you'll get it to do something, but it's never when you need it. If you're stuck in snow, whatever, you're just one-wheeling pretty much. It's never there when you want it. So at some point, either the whole rear is going to have to get rebuilt or replaced. Probably rebuilt because it's not a rusty rear end. So I'd much rather not have to buy a lower mileage Minnesota frickin' rotten axle, so keep it original, just rebuild the whole damn thing, I guess. Put a decent locker in there. That's a chunk of change, though, as people, if you know anything about the cost of lockers, holy. But anyway, so testament to Royal Purple, 15,000 miles, 16,000 miles, and it has done phenomenal on oil pressure. I mean, driving down the freeway, I'm doing 60 psi, and I mean this oil is straight out of the movies black. Just blacker and black. There's gold in them there oil pan. You know, it's blacker than black. It's horrible. But surprisingly, it did very, very well. Now, I haven't had good luck with AMSOIL holding oil pressure in this truck. Dad's ran AMSOIL for years until I've gotten him to do what I do. Well, I did Mobil 1 when I first bought this truck. I was doing Mobil 1 synthetic 1540, and now I'm doing Royal Purple. He's doing Royal Purple. I really like it. It seems to really work good in my truck. His truck just holds oil pressure a lot longer. You know, when I was doing AMSOIL, I would say I probably lost 5 to 10 psi of oil pressure by the time I was due for an oil change. And it's probably a little bit of an exaggeration going towards 10 psi, but there was a drastic difference. I mean, doing a oil change on a cold engine, you could drain it, or run it, and it would be, I don't know, 60 psi, 70-ish psi cold. I don't know. I don't even know. It was years ago, but I'm telling you, there was a drastic difference in my oil pressure gauge going from old oil to clean oil. And I know there's always a difference, but I'm saying that this stuff holds higher oil pressure longer than that AMSOIL did for me in this truck. Now, I've just run Royal Purple in all my trucks, so it just doesn't matter anymore. I don't even care. I like it. It's about the same price as AMSOIL. It's more expensive than Mobil 1. Sometimes, depends. I'm finding oil prices are going up a bit, so Royal Purples or Mobil 1's about the same. This is $33 a gallon, so not bad at all. And then what? Like Mobil 1, it's about $35 to $38 a gallon or something like that. I really wish they'd make this shit in 5 quarts. I'm tired of that. You know, Mobil 1 does the same thing. They do 5 quarts for gas engines, but 4 quarts for diesel. It drives me nuts. Quit it. Give me 5 quarts. Then I only have to buy 2 of these, not 3 of them. But that's their thing. But since both my trucks now have oil leaks, it's fine having a couple quarts extra sitting around. I'll give you a quick peek under here because she's got age and she's got miles. I mean, we're talking almost 280,000 now, and it's a 2001, so do the math. I got to do front diff seal. She's been weeping ever since I bought the truck, which was 60, 70-ish thousand miles ago. I've just kind of been topping it off, but you'd see Now, I've seen pictures and videos online, that, my bushings look like they're shot, but when I pressed them out, they look brand new, So, these are on the list, though. These are on the list to be replaced. I'm just going to try and replace them again out of the control arm, because I've done the Moog lower control arms, and it's like the torsion key is offset different, and torsion bar keys cranked all the way on my 06, and it's just, it's squatting so bad in the front, so it needs a leveling kit now thanks to the Moog lower control arms. But yeah, so we're just going to replace these just so I keep my torsion, because these ones are cranked pretty dang good, but the truck's leveled, so that's what I wanted. And then I've got kryptonite upper control arms, so I got those bushings done, but these ones pretty well severely need to be done. But as you can see, my phone would focus, the bottom of the upper oil pan is soaking wet. I don't know who, what, why, where, when on that front. Actually, you know what, I probably do. So here is a good kind of history lesson on the Duramax for you. This is 2001. This has a factory catch can for the PCV system, and that dumps out right there, right where my finger shadow was. I don't know if it'll focus or not. The black wet circle looking thing right there where my fingertip is covered. Yeah. So that is the bottom of the breather tube. So that, I think I got a clean that catch can out. Hopefully it's just over full after 20 years and what is it, 280,000 miles, that it's just full of oil and I just have to empty it. Because the truck runs like a top. Pull the oil cap off and there's hardly anything there, if anything. So I don't think it's actual blow by, but she's covering the bottom of the truck pretty good. But then in the back we're starting to get a little wet in places. So yeah. So at some point we're gonna have to probably pull the engine back out of this thing so I could pressure wash the shit out of it. You know, it's amazing how I can never find my tools when I need them, but then all you gotta do is roll around with the creeper. The creeper finds them and drags them along with you. It's like, oh, there it is, blocking the wheel as usual. So then I also have to do might as well do the oil cooler while the engine's out, because I'm gonna have to need to do a CV axle. I did one already, I don't know which one. So, and it was an O'Reilly Precision brand, and it's worked thus far. But yeah, I suppose it doesn't help the breather tube for the diff is missing. But anyway, well, I gotta do a lower radiator hose at some point because some idiot spliced it right there. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I gotta do fuel filters on the Air Dog yet. That's having gone 2 oil change intervals. I couldn't tell you whether I did filters last time I did oil or the time before. And I want to say it was probably the time before. So we're 3 oil change intervals into doing that, and I usually do them every other. So this truck's got neglected pretty badly, but what can I say? She runs like a top. She doesn't have issues. I've been driving it especially hard lately, so I'm just surprised that, the oil pressure is held up as good as it has with that old ass oil in there. So yeah. Good old girl. As many problems as there is around the engine, nothing wrong with the engine. And that is my biggest, oh my god. So, new injectors, a year and a half ago, less than 20,000 miles. So, been doing good there, running clean. Really liking it. It's just surprising how this turbo with 280,000 sounds just like it did when I bought the truck at 200,000, and there's no bearing slop, none of that shit. But then you get into an LB7 and at 100,000, 200,000, you have to replace the turbo. The bearing's going out. I mean, I replaced my turbo. I think the turbo had 120,000 on it. It had some play in it, but it sounded so crisp, so clean, so right on point. And once I replaced it, but before that, you'd shut the truck off and you'd hear the turbo wheel going with the bearing, and you could hear it through the exhaust. And I know what you're thinking. I was probably rubbing on the housing. No, I don't think so. That just sounded like a bad bearing. And Dad's is doing the same exact thing now, so he's going to have his rebuilt. And I told him, get the 64 mil freaking, do a bigger build, or 65, whatever the frick it is. And get some super whistle out of it. I should have done that, but I don't know how I would be at rebuilding a turbo, and I really didn't want to find out. I was in a pinch, and the turbo was out of budget anyway, and I just had to do it when I was doing the triple disc torque converter. Yeah, I know budget, but I budgeted for the torque converter, and I was like, you know what? Transmission out. It's easier to get the turbo stuff right here. Frick it, get done. It sounds like shit, and I don't want to be down the road a turbo bearing or a turbo lets loose. So, especially don't want to run away. But just very surprised at how this turbo is doing. It has just been an absolute beast, and running 32 psi at peak with my mods and stuff. So, yeah, Royal Purple's been taking care of this for the last 5-ish years. And Yeah, very happy with it. I think the guy before me is one of those, oh yeah, I only use Deb's oil, blah, blah. I couldn't trust a word he says now. After having gone through this truck and everything I've had to do after he's worked on it, it's like, yeah, I don't take your word for it, dude. I don't. So, I think it was more. I know a lot of people like that Rotella T4 stuff. I'm not sold. Not one bit. I'm sorry. It's cheap oil. You get cheap, you buy cheap, or vice versa. You buy cheap, you get cheap. And I know this day and age, it doesn't matter how much you spend, you could be getting stuff straight off the boat from China. I understand. But for me and my truck, Royal Purple's held oil pressure absolutely flawlessly, almost as if it has fresh oil in it. So that's what's been important to me. I want this puppy to have the best lube it can get. So no additives, no none of that. And I mean, when we pulled the heads off and whatnot, I mean, everything was so clean you could eat off of it. I was just so incredibly impressed. So that's my Royal Purple Testament. She's been doing good. You want to sponsor me? Go ahead. So I'm going to start running Royal Purple in the Cadillac. I think I did that once already. Maybe I didn't. I take that back. I've only done one oil change on it. And I think I put Mobile 1 back in there. Because I was nervous, because the oil cap says Mobile 1. But, you know, I mean, it's a North Star. I didn't want to mess with it. I just wanted it to be as good as it can be. And if it's recommended with Mobile 1. But, you know, I almost can't take GM's word for it, though, either, because the Allison transmission was made to be used with Transcend. That was their initial thing from Allison. But then GM's like, we'll use Dextron 3. And yes, I know, some people have commented, oh, Dextron 3, never had a problem with, it's gone hundreds of thousands of miles, no issues, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's all fine and dandy, except for that's not what the original manufacturer intended for it. There's obviously a reason they intended Transcend, and that's probably an Allison product, I would guess. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But either way, Transcend's made, and supposedly Transcend has more additives for the seals and stuff than Dextron has. So it's just one of those things. And that's just one of those things. And anything that's above and beyond factory is great for me. That's been one of my things. I know one of the people that watch my videos really had a hard time with that on my Banks diff cover. Just because you spend money on something doesn't mean it's any good. Yeah. I am fully aware. That's why I'm not so much of an optimist, you know. I'd rather be surprised than let down. Let's just put it that way. You know, I get it. Expecting minimal. And if it's way above that, fuck yeah. Yeah. I'll do that all day. But then, you know, you get it and you're just like, well, just is what it is. You know, paid a freaking fortune. You get something straight off the boat from China. Again, what are you going to do about it? You know? So, it's one of those things. You know, that's how I look at things, how I process stuff, because I like being surprised, not let down. So, you just stay in that kind of mode of expect the worst, be surprised when you get the best, you know? So, but, anything above and beyond factory, more additives, more cleaners, whatever, sweet, I'll do it. Sign me up. So, got to do an oil change on the four-wheeler here. Was going to go four-wheeling today, and I ended up having too much shit to do, and when I, here at home, and the oil is just dark, and it's kind of watery-ish, and it stinks of gas a little bit. It's been over 300 miles of a lot of idle time for one, and a lot of hard work. Not play work, hard work. Tug and pull and trailer full of logs, wood, you name it, she's been doing it. I mean, how many cords of wood this thing's toted around, and I mean, we're just about lifting the front tires off the ground, towing. So, yeah, she's been busy the last couple of years, and it's not had so much the love she deserves. So I understand. I'm right there with you on the using, the Polaris oil and whatever else, but at the same time, I don't want to wait. I want to get this done. I don't have a whole lot of time these days. All the time I've got's the weekend, and we're usually doing boat stuff now and whatever else. I don't have time to be doing so much of waiting for stuff. So I want to get this done. I'm doing an oil change on the truck. We're doing an oil change on the four-wheeler. We're getting it done. Don't have to think about it anymore. I still have to do drive shaft stuff on that. You give you joints and hanger bearing and whatever, and the rear differential bushing, and yeah, we got loads of work to do, and I don't have time to do it. I still got to do thermostats on this. I have them. I haven't done them. I've had them for 2 weeks now. I just haven't had time. And I got to drain the coolant, and the coolant needs to be flushed. I'll take it somewhere to do that. I don't want to do that. But I want to have I want to have the green taken out, and I want Dexcool put back in, so they really got to flush it good. But I got a little bit of oil residue in the bottle yet from when we had to do head gaskets. We put the driver's side head gasket on upside down. It's a long story. It wasn't stupidity as much as get it done right now, and we put one gasket on upside down. So anyway, but she's had oil in the coolant for the last 3, 4, 5 years. Just in the bottle, not really so much in the cooling system. All the hoses are still same exact as they were, getting 20 years old and look just as new as they did when I bought it, so whatever. But anyway, I got AMSOIL because it was the only reputable-ish, and it says for Polaris. They had Lucas, and I don't know, I like Lucas, but it just wasn't terribly sold. And it had to be 550 apparently, so I got that, and I got a Wix filter. It's the only filter I could find that would fit a Polaris, so around me at least. So I don't know. I tried Fleet Farm. They had oil but not filters. So whatever. But yep. That's about it. So I'm gonna write the mileage on the filter for the truck set now, I guess, and that way I know. And I gotta figure out what's going on with the little display on the dash because it is not working. It has not told me a single thing. I mean, I fire the truck up, doesn't even have battery, doesn't have security, doesn't flash for nothing, doesn't light up. It's just dead. So I gotta see if that's just the gauge, that little screen or what it might be, because had it kept flashing at me oil change, it probably would have prompted me to do it a bit quicker. I mean, but out of sight, out of mind. You drive it, seems fine. Oil pressure's great. Keep going. So just glad I finally did it now, because I knew she needed to be done. And this truck's been idling a lot lately too, so I figured, it's good to get it done now, because I know it's idled a lot, and I don't care for that. So clean the oil up, get her going. I usually use a little bit of Rotella shit and kind of like dump it down to kind of flush out. And I really wanted to do that now, but I don't have any spare garbage laying around that's diesel. So, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't really want to waste the Royal Purple because I've only got so much. Because whatever. Anyway, I usually like to dump the extra 2-3 quarts down there and kind of stir it up, mix it up, and drain it out. But oh well, I guess we'll just have to do an earlier oil change now, about 5,000 or so. We'll see. But hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more updates on whatever. I don't know. I get updates on everything, I guess, at some point. But boat project's coming along. Cars coming along, hopefully in the next week or so. And hopefully this thing will get a set of new shoes soon. New rubber, at least, I should say. We'll see. And then hopefully the gray truck will get a new set of rims and tires soon. But we'll see again. I mean, we're talking budget and money and whatever. I may have a job, but I tell you, I spend money faster when I didn't have a 9 to 5. So, I mean, it wasn't a typical 9 to 5. We'll put it that way. So, now that I got a 9 to 5, it's like, holy shit, when do I ever have time? And I keep finding more things to spend money on. So, especially now with the boat, and we're getting the boat done and whatever, and sneak peek. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. God bless.